is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, none. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And thou shalt prepare a table for me in front of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Yeah, each goal we meet just expose the weak. Why you think they praying on me like a rosary? You saw me out so discreet. You ain't spoke a peep. Still I heard they praying on me like a rosary. Lord, when the flow unique, friends and foes compete. That's why they praying on me like a rosary. Look to God for your soul to keep before you go to sleep. Still they praying on me like a rosary. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Can hear him hoping that a hollow be my friend. The heater bang, my body drop a Vita's name. They want me lying from the Tommy just like Vita brain. In Jesus' name they pointed aim and blasphemy, but that's for me. Raps G.O.D. I'm at the man's like Catholic priest. Feel like Pac, me against the world, just me and my girlfriend into the world. And at least I make it out this world. We're all category 5, twist the diggler in the eye. Calm as ever, flicking pictures, sipping as I light up. I'm cool. Remember reading right on write-ups, putting posters on my wall, all those who make me pick the mic up. Since I did, it's like I can't tell which one of these niggas mic'd up. Working with the feds, but this kind of life excites us. Surrounded by these Judases trying to do me in. More niggas watching with the 9 and UPN. I'm saying, yeah, each goal we meet just expose the weak. Why you think they praying on me like a rosary? You saw me out so discreet. You ain't spoke a peace. Still I heard they praying on me like a rosary. When the flow unique, friends and foes compete. That's why they praying on me like a rope. I heard prayer, God, for your soul to keep before you go to sleep. Still they praying on me like a rope. Niggas pray on my downfall. I didn't get what it is, this shit about. I don't know, it makes me the finish straight when I'm around y'all. It's in the air. They only care when that ground fall. Niggas pray on my downfall. I didn't get what it is, this shit about. I don't know. Finish straight when I'm around y'all. It's so strange. They only care when that ground fall. In Hail Mary, bumping Hail Mary. Dr. Velli Pop prepared me for this hell, Harry. Come with me. I'm resurrecting rap. Run quick, see for they gun click squeeze. They aim and magnify at the black messiah till I'm preaching to the mass choir out of Zechariah. But these fought the rabbits, no papyrus off the iris. Heard that is a Jersey kid who brought punches like I'm fighting. Silence, murder, silence, burners, dropping sermons like a priest for the streets. Quiet merger, signing curses till we eat. Who would love if this my last supper? Stand with your chest if you mad, fuck up. Let it be known, scrap. Either way, I want my throne back. Lord, all this hating, I don't condone that. Lord, all these newbies hitting my phone wag. Tell them no, it's hitters at your home, yeah. Lord, yeah. Each goal we meet just expose the weak. Why you think they praying on me like a rosary? Saw me out so discreet. You ain't spoke a peace. Still I heard they praying on me like a rosary. I hear you. When the flow unique, friends and foes compete. That's why they praying on me like a rosary. Look to God for your soul to keep before you go to sleep. Say they praying on me like a rosary.
Peace to the east, the west, north, and south. Welcome to Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. I know I've been on a furlough. I've been on a sabbatical. I've been on a fasting sabbatical. My 30-day fast ended on Tuesday. And you see, I promised you I come back to Thursday's night show, Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. And also, we have an absolutely phenomenal guest who's decided to join us for our kickoff show. I'm so grateful, and that's Quentin Q. Reeves, better known as Q. So he'll be joining us tonight for the discussion. I kind of just kicked over a discussion today. Oh, I'm grateful. Thank you, Selma. This is, an exclusive for our Cypher crew and for Patreon. I thought it'd make it more personal. Our space is more, able for us to have conversations. Make sure you call in for questions because, we're going to be taking Q&A after we, beautifully bring in our phenomenal guest. So, much has gone on in the world since the last Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. We have a lot going on globally. We're seeing a lot of chaotic mayhem occurring at this point, causing a lot of ripples in the different timelines. Whatever timeline that you're on, you remember when we did our timeline jump a couple of times, we ended up going to many different placements, which put us in positions of the frequency that we desired at that time. And I see that this one, to me, is more cohesive than maybe the one previously we jumped to. And I personally think we jump all the time. Sometimes you go in and out of frequencies and pulling you into alternative timelines where you already coexist in another frame of consciousness. This happens probably more regularly than not, especially we have the collapsing of the timelines going back to 0 point. And because we're going back to 0 point, there is definitely a reoccurrence of these influx of energies bringing us all together. The point of doing it is, this whole ansage of unity consciousness is kind of just speaking about the oneness, going back into zero, the zero paradigm, going back and fielding all the energy, all the information, all the vibrations that we've collected as our own splintered souls and bringing them collectively back to source. And it can be a very difficult process, as the splintering was difficult. You think splintering from each other was difficult. The merging is even more horrific. It depends on your consciousness. So anyway, we're going to talk about, I thought it was very poignant that we speak about, human parasites, or what we kind of talk about is energy vampirism becoming like a pandemic right now. As we see right now, if you are experiencing, and many of you may not even, this may not even be in your world. It may not be even a frequency that you're even, experiencing at this point. But if you're viewing anything on, television, you're actually probably observing a lot of the human parasiting going on in all different ends. It could be the entertainment industry as far as, the actresses, actors, the, Instagram has, hey Joy, Instagram has its own form of parasiting coming from, those who are addicted to pulling in frequency of people looking at them and deeming them in whatever way that they're portraying, or, with their representatives. Also, I feel like we're seeing more people more addicted to chaos, people who are addicted to the apocalypse theme park. Yes, the apocalypse theme park. Addicted to forms of trauma in their life, addicted to victimization, being, woe is you. These are all forms of parasiting, whether you realize it or not. You can be an energy vampire and have a non-realization that you are, but what can actually detail and give you a little bit of insight is if you're actually one of these energy vampires, is if you always feel the need to speak about something negative as soon as you talk to someone, or you call people specifically just to, we call it, verbal purging. You'll call someone specifically just to talk about the terrible things that are happening in your life, or the traumas that you're occurring, or the breakups that you're having, or, your dog is not going to the bathroom properly. These are people that you could be one of those that is feeding off of the vibrations and frequencies of others by purging your garbage on others, and in return you get cleansed. It's almost like you're purging and you're rebuking your garbage and you're putting them on someone else, and then you feel better when you get off the phone, but the person that you just threw up all over, they're basically undergoing some sort of trauma right now because you traumatized them, because that's another form of parasiting. It may not seem like it because you're purging, but parasiting is not always taking something in. Sometimes it could be basically giving too much out and wanting an effect from something outside of yourself. The typical atypical energy vampire is somebody who's always looking to see what you're doing, always basically trying to feed off of your energy, your amusement, your creativity, your fashion sense, your happiness, your joy. Hey, Amina, the things that are beautiful that you personally and uniquely have. You may have people that are wonderfully and so beautifully collected to your light, but some people are collected to your light not to just exuberate them, not to be basically exalt in it, but to basically pull and feed off of it and pull it from you and take it onto themselves, okay? We see that in a more personable way. Then, of course, you have the parasites that are we have more political parasiting, or more, the energies of specific countries that are parasites. United Snakes is the biggest parasite there is, and that's why we go to other countries and destabilize them, feeding off of their resources, basically giving them false hope, and then basically at the end of the deal, those countries are dilapidated, now decrepit and unable to provide for their own people, and the big bad wolf, the big parasite that just fed off of them is lying back on his big fat belly, happy and go lucky and looking for another country to feed off of. So we have a lot of this going on, and I thought it was a very poignant point, and I would really love to get the take, our wonderful guest, Hugh, who's coming on here tonight. It has such a interesting, very intriguing mindset. Frequency. One of our sea stars had actually brought up Hugh to me a couple weeks ago and said, listen, you have to, this young sun star is online and he's fire, basically fire in the yard. And she told me his name and I hadn't heard of him. So she shared one of his videos. Big up to Ra. Ra shared one of his videos. And I was like, wow, I've never seen him. He wasn't in our original timeline. Remember, we jumped timelines. So this is not an individual I ever knew about because probably he wasn't from the timeline that we came from. This is my perception, and perception is your reality. So basically, I checked out some of his videos, and I found them very intriguing. I found it very interesting that he was also a regressionist, and he talked about a number of different things. Yeah, he wasn't in your timeline. No, he wasn't in our timeline. First time I heard of him, and he's very fascinating. And I really thought it was very important. And Ross suggested, we should definitely have him on the show. And I think I'm actually excited to actually talk to this wonderful person and get his take on a lot of the different things that we discuss, and especially on parasiting, timeline jumping, and we'll you know how we go. We sidebar all night, so I'm going to pull him in. Relax, Florban doesn't have snacks tonight because I just got off fast and I could barely eat. So it's a liquid night tonight, water, sparkling water. That is my elixir of the evening. So come on, check on in. We're going to go into, now you know the number. If you have questions, 515-605-9881. That's the call-in number. I'm going to pull him in on my phone on my queue, okay? So give me a minute, and we'll pull in our wonderful guest, Q. Okay. And I'll have him do a wonderful introduction. Let me just make sure I'm merging properly. Here we go. We'll have Q come on.
Hello.
Peace, peace, peace. How are you, Q?
I'm great.
Oh, good. I'm so grateful to have you. Hold on, let me plug you into my speaker so we can get you nice and accustomed. I'm so sorry. It's like you never know what happens in the world of the internet. So I'm grateful I can get you on this way. I'm not quite the techie.
We still figured it out.
Absolutely. So Q, what's good? What's good, Sunstar? So I wanted to, I already kind of introduced you, but I can't do any justice. I would like you to just talk to the family and just let them know, a little bit about you, where you're from, You're also a regressionist. So I want you to kind of talk a little bit about that, and then we can kind of kick into our topic, if you don't mind. A little bit about
Yeah,
you.
that's cool. So, peace, family. My name is Quentin Q. Reed. I'm a metaphysical therapist. It's basically developing and creating certain forms of therapy or mental healing that goes just beyond physical practices. That's kind of what metta would refer to, kind of going beyond the world of the physical. So if you understand the physical world, it would kind of be like the conscious world, the conscious state, the awakening or awoken state, and the metaphysical realm will kind of be like the subconscious state or the resting state. And I kind of deal with that. And resting mass is no different than a mass that has not transitioned into matter. It's kind of stuck. So a lot of energies kind of are at rest right now, kind of lost, confused, trying to figure out which direction they need to flow from. Not really understanding they flow from all directions. So I offer something called a subconscious regression, where what that basically would consist of is me placing you into a stated state, that's what science calls it, but just a state of imagination, kind of like daydreaming without the day, or maybe daydreaming without your eyes being open. A lot of people say they have difficulties meditating, and I understand. A lot of people say meditation leads them to sleep. So it's just kind of like a guided meditation. And we can then regress you to a subconscious level and then see what dwells within one's subconscious. And I found a lot of interesting things in the subconscious mind of people.
I'm sure you have. And this is beautiful. So what brought you on this path? Like what actually made you curious to go into this field? Was there a pinnacle point, or was it something that you were always intrigued by as a young person? Like maybe in your teens, you were more interested in maybe things that were obscure outside of the realm of what we consider to be normality. What kind of brought you into this? What introduced you into metaphysics?
Well, solitude. So when you're alone, this is why a lot of young men that get incarcerated come out a lot wiser than they were previously being locked up.
Absolutely.
This is, your young pharaohs. I'm not really trying to drop no names, but just craft.
Yeah.
People who have kind of sat down for a second. Nipsey Hussle, P.I. I mean, all these people are influential right now, or have a platform of being influential. Went to jail. Malcolm X. So Minister Farrakhan.
Yes.
So jail has a rooming effect, if you grasp.
Very nice.
So in the room, you kind of have all the primordial spirits around you. You think you're alone. That's probably the time you're around the most. It's when you're around the artificial things, the artificial life, the real things kind of leave you. That's a different situation. So just being alone, I was alone a lot as a child, and kind of being alone, you kind of develop a voice. And that voice kind of gave me information as far as like ways of capitalizing on life. So I have a video on my YouTube explaining how I kind of got into this. And I guess to say in a nutshell, I kind of had a voice at a young age, maybe I think 5 is when it started, where this voice would kind of help me or assist me. I kind of knew it was me from the future. So I don't want people to kind of get weirded out with it.
No, this is the perfect platform. We understand that exists. Yes.
So a higher self would be no different than your future self.
That's right.
And your child, your higher self would be like your adult.
That's
and
right.
You kind of are your higher self right now, not really accessing your lower self, which actually would be your child. But we're not going to get into that because we like to look at things as good and bad, and not really like adult child, man, woman. Yeah. They kind of both good and bad. It's on both sides.
Yeah.
But so as a kid, I kind of was tuned into this energy, and then I kind of realized that this energy was manipulative, that had the ability to manipulate things.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really want to manipulate things. That really wasn't my goal with it. So I then tried to come to a more concrete conclusion on working with this energy. Like, there has to be other ways that we can benefit and not just think of creative ways that are selfish. That's kind of what, I associated with it, that this energy kind of helped me. And I was like, that's cool, but there's others that need to be helped as well. Like, if you have if you have all this information, you're so informed, you're so, attuned, then why am I only allowed to get this information? It seems a little weird. So, after kind of working with that energy, it helped me in high school. It helped me get out of a lot of crazy situations. I then became an adult. And in my adulthood, I ended up gravitating to certain things in life that awoke in me. I had a best friend who went to South America, and he left like a nobody. I mean, I'm not really saying like a nobody, but non-relevant as far as spirituality, as far as music, any of that thing. Yeah. Man, this man came back from South America, and he said, I'm going to be on a radio station. He says, I'm going to be on Hot 97. He said, Funk Flex is going to speak my name. And I'm looking at him like, dude, what are you talking about? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I will never. So not even a month later, literally, I was in New Jersey checking into a hotel, and I go out to my car, and my girlfriend at that time was like, oh my God, Gerard, that was his name.
Yeah.
She was like, he was on the radio. And I was like, what do you mean he was on the radio? And she was like, Funk Flex just spoke his name. And I almost dropped to the floor, because that's literally what he said. And he said it with such confidence, kind of like that voice that I was connected to. So I was like, that's some divine, that's some strong right there. And I was like, this man just spoke creation into existence. He spoke something, and that there was nothing that was going to interfere or stop him from achieving that which he said or created.
Yeah.
So when I realized the power of sound, and I'm an advocate, sound is the creator. So when I realized the power of his sound, I wanted to kind of get more information about that. So me and him would kind of talk. Bill speak about a lot of things, celebrities, Hollywood. And he was very attuned until they put him into a mental home. They suppressed him, which they do to a lot of us.
Yes, of course.
To a lot of us geniuses.
Yeah.
Just than Kanye. Yeah. So I kind of had like a modern day Kanye in my life. And I saw just how manic he was, which then made sure that I don't get lost in this. Like, he was always a vital point for me to, like, let me not lose myself in this.
Get grounded.
It's important
Become
for me
grounded.
to kind of stay grounded.
Yeah.
And I'm so appreciative for him. I don't even know if he knows it. Or whoever was in that spirit, or that body, I'm just appreciative that it keeps a constant reminder of you have to kind of stay grounded, because if not, this matrix, this simulation will try to remove you if you try to unlock people too quickly. Yeah. And I realized that's what it was, that certain things is a part of a timeline, a marker, a grid system, something I call the organic timeline. Yeah. And when you start interfering with the organic timeline, things that kind of hold that together fight back.
Yeah, you got to tiptoe and whisper. That's the point. That's the easiest point. You got to do the ninja. In order to wake up the masses, you have to do it very, you have to be mindful of the collective, of their mindset, but also you have to be mindful that once you start unraveling too many threads, that's when they will either suppress you or, remove you and replace you, because sometimes it's better, especially if you've grown a nice established platform, they can remove you as an organic being and replace you with something that's inorganic, which happens occasionally. So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh, no. Right there with you, especially after you use the thread construct. Very interesting. Threads kind of associate to what you would call genes.
Yeah.
A single thread isn't that strong or powerful. Put a couple of threads together.
Oh yeah.
You kind of get what you call your clothing.
That's right.
Or what you call your jeans.
Yes. It's all relative. So I really appreciate just getting an idea and a further insight into your background, into your what basically your ingredients were, that created the being that we are seeing and hearing before us. because you aren't just this being. Your holographic body may show up to us in one way. Even your toning may show up. And again, you talked about the oversoul or the higher self, which is part of the uniformed being that you are, if you consider future. But I always say past, present, and future are all overlapping because time doesn't exist. So another form of you in a higher way. I like how you say the adult part of you. I love that, the way that you feel that together. Even in our topic today, I felt you were probably the most worthy to speak about this because I had a question for you, and I think only you were the only one that I actually felt could answer this. And that's a rarity that I give that much credence to one being for something that I desire to unravel. So we're talking about just basically human parasites or vampiric beings that are here, that are part of the make-up the matrix. It is their way, these beings serve a purpose. Like there are beings that are meant to serve other purposes, but there are beings specifically serving the purpose of feeding. They're here to feed or to change a frequency to be able to be fed off of. You can change someone to make them more permissible for feeding, okay? Animals do that. Also, some insects do that. A mother stock will have milk, she'll eat some fish, and she'll break it down in her mouth, and she'll spit it out as what we call milk crop for her babies. She's taking in something for her own nutritional staple, but she's able to change it and make it more permissible for a younger form of herself, okay? So we're talking about that. I had a question. We're seeing a heightened amount of, and I'm not saying these things didn't exist before, because again, there isn't anything new under the sun. Even though we're seeing things more on social media that we may have not had in previous times, we're seeing much more now. We're aware of a lot more occurrences that may seem tragic or chaotic to us. But because you do regression and because you talk about frequency and also you get the layering effect of the different timelines, do you feel like we're at a precipice where they're inserting more beings to create chaos in order to feed more? Do you feel like there are more incarnated beings coming here in order to create a type of, like a palatable frequency of a demonicness or chaoticness or traumatic experiences or victimhood? Do you think they're spitting out more beings that are purposely being sent here to create, or to feed more? What's your take on that?
They have no access to life. So they're not really accessing life, they're accessing death, meaning they're accessing the past.
Oh, what's that? What's that? Hello? Hello? What? Hold on, we're getting intermission. Are we getting contact tonight? I think this is a problem. Hold on, family. Do you hear that? I hear talking. Do you hear talking in here? Oh my, I just heard like back talking in there. I think Hugh might have broke a code. Hold on, Hugh. If you're still there, stay on, okay? Something happened with your sound. I'm going to take this off and make sure he's still there. No, it's on totally. Wow, and it just kicked off Q. Oh, okay, family. We're having a bit interruption tonight by some, we have some interception. Hold on, let me tell Q I'll call him back. Hold on. Blog Talk, you will have to wait a minute. I have to shut down Blog Talk for a minute. We have some interception. Wow. Hold on, let me just tell him. AI didn't like that. You should be used to this. It's the kickoff of our show. You know they had to intercept. I think that's a little AI interception. Okay, let me shut this down. Wow, family. Can't stop most. Oh, wait, hold on. They're trying to shut off my whole show. Hold on. Woo! Fire in the yard, fire in the yard. I wish I had like horns whenever we have this happen. I wish I had like, sound off horns. Okay, we're gonna do it manually. Can't stop, won't stop. This is what we go through. And this is how we do. We should just, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Na 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 na.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
Interesting, it just shut me off. Okay. It'll go back through. It's just interesting. Wow. It just shut down the whole thing. It won't even let me call in. Q, what did you do? Oh, phone home. ET phone home. Listen, extraterrestrials. This was AI. This had nothing to do with the ETs. Okay, hold on, family. They're not letting me call in. I've got to do something. Just be patient. Thank goodness our show is 3 hours. Okay, let me shut down my whole phone. Okay, Q, if you're watching, I think Q's watching the video. I'm going to pick you up in a moment. Oh, we got people calling in because they want to hear the ET drama. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord, have mercy. Okay, hold on. I'm so used to them shutting down my show. I got all kinds of backup. Just in case, because I just knew the party was going to be interrupted unkindly tonight. All right, so let's do this again. Oh, they're dropping people off my callers. They're dropping calls off Blog Talk. Keep calling in, Blog Talk. Don't stop calling in. Keep calling in. They keep dropping your calls. This is crazy. We didn't even get through the conversation. Okay, let's see if this works. Cross your fingers, send positive, defrag them, group. Defrag them. Send them like sketches of like unicorns. Send them sketches of unicorns so I can make it through. Let's do this. Send them sketches of unicorns.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions, press 2.
Since it appears you're calling back into the live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Woo! Fire in the yard. All right, let's get Q back on here. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Come on. Let's get Q back on here. Come on, Q. Can't stop, won't stop. They should know better. Don't mess with the ET contactees. Okay, so now I can plug them back into my phone. Q, wait, hold on. Are you back? Are you there? Hold on, I can't hear you yet. Hold on. Are you back, Q? Q?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
AI in the house. A big shout out to AI who tried to shut down the show. Let me tell you something, AI. You do it to my show all the time, but Q is a special guest. Do not be disrespectful because we will get you. There's enough witches and warlocks and other people on this line. Keep messing with the show. I'm sorry, Q. They could have at least waited until you said it.
And you asked really interesting questions, so
yeah, well,
I was about to.
You gonna keep going because can't stop, won't stop. If you know my theme, that's my theme. So you gonna share it regardless. And we can do this all night. I hope you know how to tango because I can. So we will do this all night, and you will finally be able to reveal what's necessary for the collective to have an understanding of what's going on. I'm so sorry about that. They do this occasionally on my show. Well, no, more than occasionally. I don't want to lie, but I'm a contactee too. It doesn't help. All right, so Q, once again, should I reenact? No, you already know the answer. What do you think these parasitic type of beings? Do you think that they're being reincarnated and inserted here to purposefully either create chaos or both create chaos and also create it for feeding, like the crop, like the crop milk for the birds, Okay.
All right. So I said that these are bearers of death.
Ooh.
And they don't have the ability to access life. This would be no different than you saying the tree of knowledge, which would be no different than the tree of death, because the way we get our knowledge is through the dead, your food, your currency, your documents, a.k.a. Dracula, but let's not get into that.
Share it, fire in the yard, fire in the yard.
Yeah, just, process. These are just servants of beings of what you'll call, the dead. Dracula, he a dead being, but just the dead. Beings that pull from the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge has then been broken up into what you'll call 7 or 9 realms or worlds. That's why they say the 7 chakras. No, 9. And they argue over that. And at the end of the day, they're just information points. What do you mean? So these beings are kind of trying to tap into a heightened source, which would be chaos. And chaos would be associated to something you call Aten.
Ooh.
Once again, a 10 or a 10, like the number 10, where you're kind of going through a system of 1 through 9.
Hold that thought, Q. They shut off Blog Talk. Hold on, you went too far. Hold on.
Ready for this, bro.
Oh, they need to get up on it. They knew I came off a fast for 30 days. There's got to be fire in this conversation. Hold on, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get it back in. Let me do this again. Oh, good. I'm a Sagittarius and I'm a triple Sag. I have a lot of patience and I'm very resilient. So this isn't the one they should mess with. Hold on. Let's call it in. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pull myself back in my line.
Okay. Great. Please enter your host pin when finished. Key.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions,
Since it appears you're calling back.
Okay. Oof. Okay. Now we're back on with both. Okay. All right. So you were speaking about the different realms, and they're trying to tap into the higher realms and frequencies because they're devoid of light. So that's a source of energy, which is their food source that they utilize to sustain themselves and to have any form of sustenance, I guess, just to be able to even be, correct?
It's called those chakras. The dead have to go somewhere.
Okay.
The dead go back into a body.
Yes.
So the dead is calling within your chakra points right now.
And usually...
AKA your rainbow.
Yes. Interesting you said that. So you're saying, and I want to recap a little bit, which I thought was so amazing and such a wonderful fielding in of intel and wisdom. You just basically said that the majority of things that we study is all about death. The things that we do, we engage with daily is about death. What is the Latin word? I think it's mortimum or something like that. We engage into the world of death as opposed to life. We're never really celebrating. Most artists are not, coming from New York City, most artists aren't celebrated until they die. Most of them aren't even really become really renowned until they actually die, and then their artwork is actually revered. So it kind of makes sense. That's interesting, right?
Your holidays are dead people.
All our holidays are dead people. Listen to this, family. It's sick. The food is dead. I told you, y'all are corpsetarians eating dead food. We're really, if you're going to be a meat eater, you're supposed to eat it like freshly killed, like the lions and the hyenas.
Yeah,
the hyenas.
they're not ready for that.
Yeah.
And then they're not ready for plants are the first meat eaters.
Yes, they
before
are.
meat eaters themselves.
Yes. Oh, Q. You trying to, the vegans, they already came for me. They're going to try to come more. It's okay. It's okay. It's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. Because part of composting, the true compost, is flesh. And flesh actually gives the most, because it has sulfuric acid and also it's very phosphorus. It actually allows, and that's why now, Washington, D.C. has a law and this is becoming a law. I don't know if it's been signed off yet, but they're starting to use human flesh for compost. That's what they want to do. Very interesting you said that. And people are mortified, listen to the word mortified, but in itself.
Yeah, it has to do with a being called Morgan.
Oh.
If you don't know the deities, how these deities work, you don't know really where they're placed.
Sure.
But Morgana, which is the daughter of Dracula or the daughter of Death.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the dead get buried in the ground, and before we put them in boxes, they kind of didn't even get buried. They kind of just dropped where they was at.
Well, that's
we didn't have concrete and slabs to kind of separate the realms. Let's say that.
I agree.
So they kind of dissolved into the ground, and your roots of plants and trees dwell within the ground.
Yeah.
And your roots kind of consume all of these blood, feces, oils of the body.
Everything. Absolutely.
But this is where the story of Little Shop of Horrors comes from.
Sure.
Therefore, meat-eating plants.
Yeah.
From a long, long star system, way out in the Vega constellation.
You remember that? The Little Shop of Horrors? Little Shop of Horrors. Remember that show? Yeah. Talking about but that's interesting because the Venus flytrap gets so many, it's the least dangerous of flesh-eating plants, but there's way more pervasive plants in South America. On my island, we have a few in the jungle. So they do exist, and they do exist as a natural, as an heirloom to this planet, not only from other star systems. I agree there's been some colonizing and bringing some other breeds, but we do have those here, and they do consume flesh and blood, yes.
Indeed. And plants are a little older than animals. If you are biblical, the plants came first. So that's called a tree.
Wow. This is beautiful. I love this. Your mind is so vast. It's amazing. It's nice to hear a sun star that is part of a super consciousness that supersedes the basic, the cut and paste that we get online normally with the pseudo consciousness. It's nice to hear somebody go past the marker or past the cap, because some people have caps in their consciousness. You seem to have bypassed that, kind of hacked into another system that allots you, and I just assume it's your lineage. It could just be the fact that genetically you have access to these points of reference based on who you come from. I'm all about genetics. So I love this.
Where you come from is where you're going.
Oh, very nice. Oh, yes. Okay, so we're talking about these beings they're basically feeding on vampiric, okay? So they are required, and this is another thing I want to state, because a lot of times it's not coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of observation. We require beings to feed, just like I tell people all the time, that insects clean up messes. People are very frightened of spiders and so on, but really at the end of the day, which I love that you brought about the plants, these are the cleaners. The plants clean up corpses, pull out the moisture. Ants and other types of voracious insects eat the flesh, and basically they compost the body. So it's required sometimes to have these types of parasites in order to be cleaners. I call them the cleaners. I'm a gardener, so I know I require that sometimes to clean out my garden, and I don't kill things because things work symbiotic. When you start killing off one, then you have an over-establishment of something that's more unbalanced, and then your ecosystem is totally off.
Yes, indeed. Very interesting you say that, because it sounds like the plants and the insects would kind of be like gatekeepers of death.
Yeah.
And maybe this is why flies fly to the dead.
Yes. Remember the scarab? Remember the scarab of Egypt, which is worship.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I'm trying to just ease into these things. So there's a deity called Diana.
Okay.
And Diana is also referred to by many different names, but in context, she's the being over herbs, and she is the being over what you would call sex and sex magic. But another thing that has been associated with Diana are like spiders and bees.
Yeah.
It's also associated with Orion.
Yes.
Spiders and bees are associated with Orion, while the owl is associated with the Pleiades. This is why in Bohemian Grove they have a big sign that says "No spiders welcome." But that's a whole nother conversation.
Interesting. Okay.
Her name is Diana, signifying the name itself. Dying, Diana, Lilith, life, Lilith, Diana, yes.
Yes, okay.
West, Diana, East, Lilith, rising sun, Lilith, setting sun,
Wow.
Diana.
Interesting.
Diana is also depicted as poison ivy. So the whole poison ivy concept is still kind of showing that, once again, the plant essence and death. She kisses you, you die. Kiss of death.
Yeah.
Still kind of harboring those same ideologies or those roles or templates. Now, I often explain how the body's broken up. It's in 4 bodies, 4 positions. The 4 positions is often depicted as a reptile, which represents your mental state.
Yeah.
Your mammal, which represents your emotional state. Your insect or instinctive body or state. And then the amphibian, or your spiritual body. So let's do that again for those that might have missed it. A reptile would be your mental body, controlling the voluntary systems of you. So what does the reptile brain control? Science? It controls you blinking your eyes, the clothes that you're wearing right now, how you identify yourself. Your ego is actually attached to your reptile, because this is a voluntary system of you, meaning you get to decide. And guess what they tell you the reptile does? It fights, it flights, runs away,
Yeah.
it fornicates,
Yeah.
it fucks,
Yeah.
it freezes. This is our society, this is our culture.
That's true.
Our whole culture is reptile.
Reptilian.
And the
Yeah.
reptile
Yeah.
is voluntarily choosing to fight yourself, to freeze yourself, to fuck yourself, and to fly away from yourself.
Wow.
These
Wow.
are the reptiles, or the reptile of the mind. The mind, the mental body. That's just one body. We're not done. And then you have the mammal body, which would be the emotional body. And this controls the involuntary system of you. This is your stomach. This is your heart. These are your lungs. You don't control those things. You don't control when you're hungry.
No.
You don't control when you're breathing. You don't control your heart beating. Try it. I want anyone that's listening right now. Stop your heart. Show me the control you have over that. Stop your lungs for more than a minute. Let's see if it kind of takes over whatever the hell you're talking about and breathes again. Process. You don't control these things. This is a beast. This is the 666 that they don't tell you about. But I'm not going to go too hard. We're going to keep it easy.
Easy, son, easy.
So the emotional body is the mammal body. And now you kind of understand these are 2 bodies are the dominant, or what you'll call the macro. Okay? The big body. Got the reptile, voluntary, the mammal, involuntary. But just like macro, it needs micro.
Yeah.
Just like out, it needs in. Just like big guy, you need a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the little guy or little system to these 2 worlds? Well, if you just logically think about how these things work, you know that the mammal grows hair. What else grows hair? It's called the insect. So now that must be associated to one part of you or side of you. Mammal and insect, aka mammal emotions and instinct. Are we instinctively using our emotions, or do we cap ourselves every second of the day? You tell me. But instinct is directly associated with one's mammal or emotion. And when we get more instinctive, we can instinctively perceive things, kind of how we used to be, or how we used to grasp our memories.
Yeah.
But this is all about gaining one's crown, which is your memories. And this is why your crown is separated from your body, because your memories are stripped from you. And when you're born, you are void, with no memories, with no crown. Thus, being here to become sovereign or get one's crown back through the 6 inner worlds in you, third eye to the root. But the insect will kind of associate to the emotional body. So then you have another aspect of you. You call that the amphibian body, or the fish body. This is a part of your brain that resides dark matter. This is the part of your brain where spirits dwell. This is what you would call your spiritual body. That's why Christ represents the spiritual essence or the spiritual body. So basically, it's implying spirits from darkness. That's what fish in a primordial water in the dark system below you, pulling it up from the depths of the primordial subatomic world into the system of you now. So it's in essence, just so I can try to explain it, not lose people. Your reptile is associated with your amphibian, meaning that your mental state is fueled by the dead, aka spirits.
Wow.
Spirits are giving you your thoughts. Your thoughts are then being influenced or is influencing what you call your imagination, your childlike body. And then you are manipulated, of course, through the insect or instinct, give you certain foods, certain dietary systems to shut down instinctive behaviors, and then you kind of control the involuntary system. So spirits control the voluntary system, and then what you'll call insects, or what does the government do when they want to monitor you? They call it bugging you.
Yes, they do.
They kind of are bugging you, therefore controlling your movement on an involuntary level. But I'm gonna hush for a second. I'm gonna let you go. My bad. I'll be going.
No, I'm in awe. I'm okay. I just need to oxygen mask a little bit to intake some oxygen because you just gave a whole lot of carbon monoxide feeding the plants at this point. What I found is so intriguing is the breakdown of the different parts of who and what we are instinctively, using our instincts, using our acts of our emotions. And I love that you pull in the fact that the ancestor spirits are influencing us, or everyone.
The reptiles, specifically.
Yes. Yes.
Specifically.
Reptilians. So don't get me
Remember,
started.
where we come from. We come from a system of the dead or from the past.
We do.
So our ancestors follow the same frequency, fight, flight, fornicate, freeze.
They do. And
that's a grid. That's a four-sided system. If you put a X inside of a box or a square, you get four sides.
Yeah.
Four squares.
The cube.
And each square is positioned off to represent one of these emotions or these constructs, these principles.
Yeah. And this is why, and I'm assuming this is why when we see the Orthodoxy or the Sephardic Jews celebrating or worshiping at Shabbat, that they wear the four-sided cube on their first eye, depending on your consciousness. They utilize it as a form of accessing those points of reference, don't you think?
Yes, that's deep. If you want me to talk about the whole Kabbalah or the little black cube.
Yeah, touch on that a little bit.
In the most simplistic term, I don't think people process that we're in a system of 7. 7 days of the week, 7 chakras. 7 times 7 gives you 49.
Yeah.
4 plus 9 is 13. Let's leave that alone.
Yeah.
So in the 7-7 system, you get 7 days of the week. Each day of the week represents a different planet, meaning that every single day of the week, you're accessing a different energy.
Yeah.
You're accessing a different grid. This is why you might feel one way on Monday and feel a whole other way on Friday.
That's
These
right.
are different systems that you're pulling from. But this isn't just the planets. The planets connect to your chakras. So I do this very simply. Let's go through the chakras.
Yeah.
Your crown chakra. Your crown chakra is associated to memory. Your memories have been wiped from you, stripped, taken, stolen, hijacked, put in something you call Daku myth by a being named Daku that is kind of governing over the halls of Amenti or the Akashic records by his daughter, Akasha, a.k.a. Morgana. Same thing. Anyway, keep going.
Wow.
Akasha would be Aaliyah in the movie she did.
Yeah.
Her name is literally Akasha in the movie, and she plays the daughter of a vampire.
The daughter of the dead.
Can't get more obvious.
Yeah.
Can't get more obvious.
Yeah.
So this is, why everyone's so obsessed with the halls of Amenti or the Akashic records. Nobody remembers their fucking self. No one knows who they are anymore. Your memories, you've been Men in Black. That's the best way I explain it. Blue, you've been blue. So since we have all been blue, we're kind of separated from our memories. That's why your crown chakra is separated from you. Keep going. Mercury, crown chakra. Next would be Venus, which would be a very interesting thing, because I don't even think people truly process the power of a V. Which would be V would be the fifth number in Latin, kind of signifying the fifth age, which is what we're in right now, fifth age of Aquarius,
Yeah.
which would be technically our fifth age. So when you see a lot of V symbology, you have these Masons holding their hands up in a triangle or V shape.
Yeah, yeah,
You have the Vulcan race, Spock holding up the V.
yeah.
So you get V, Vendetta, all these things, you get V. So V is a very interesting thing. A V is the convergence of two ones coming together like a point or a peak or a summit. And I don't think people process that when they out here go so hard over 1111, not truly understanding that the number 11 is the number of Lucifer or the number of the beast. This is why they give you devil horns. Once again, 11. If you stick up this 11, and this devil horns or 11 concept is referred to as the beast or Lucifer. Lucifer is Venetian. Is a being that's called the morning star, which is Venus.
Yes.
This is why the Lucifer and Venus connection. It's so fun.
Woo!
So Venus is really a V, and then you get Venus, which is like penis.
Yes.
This is why Lucifer was a hermaphrodite, both masculine and feminine,
Yes.
taking on the feminine construct, because you would say Venus is feminine, which in a sense it is, because each planet follows suit. Mercury would be masculine, Odin, but we won't get into that. Venus would be feminine. Earth, I guess that kind of gets complicated, but Earth was moved. But Earth technically is supposed to be feminine if it was the fifth planet from the sun. Let's see if that follows suit, though. So masculine. Let's not go into that. Let's not go into the polarities of planets, because what people don't understand is the polarities is the pole. So if you're claiming that a planet is masculine, that's just which pole a majority of the consciousness pulls from.
Yeah.
You can tell which pole a majority of the consciousness pulls from. If you look at Saturn, you see a hexagon on its north pole. You understand that it pulls from a certain direction or a certain frequency more than others.
Yeah.
Venus also has a pole. Earth also has poles, etc., etc. I did a video explaining how they're kind of like orbs. And there's like 6 orbs or points, a hexagon on Saturn. Venus has 2. So if you were to look up the North Pole of Venus right now, you would see 2 swirling storms or portals above Venus.
Yeah.
Let's not go into that. All right, so
Beautiful.
Venus would be your third eye. I'm sorry, I kind of go on rant.
Oh no, I'm the rant queen. Go ahead. I appreciate it. You know I'm staying quiet. I'm good.
So Venus represents one's third eye, aka one's imagination, aka one's thoughts. And this is now how one's imagination in a child and one's thoughts kind of subdue the imagination and make that child think, kind of make him or her lose its true identity, its true source, and kind of enforce your own thoughts upon that energy. You got a child that likes to play, drums. A little 4-year-old goes in the kitchen, grabs out some pots and some spoons, starts banging on the drums, or starts banging on these pots. You as a parent come in and say, oh no, my child's too good to be banging on some damn pots. Snatch the pots and spoons from them, and then go buy them a drum set. The kid didn't ask for no goddamn drum set. That's your fault. Why are you projecting your shit onto this kid? I'm confused. Let the kid bang on the drum. So, thoughts, imagination. Simple. That's how things work. Kind of showing you a contrast.
Yes.
So the third eye will be kind of symbolic for one's, control over one's imaginative state, or kind of the focal point into accessing that childlike mind of the third eye. All right, so that's your thoughts. All right, Earth. Earth now is the third pocket from the sun. So Earth now will be the throat chakra. That's why Earth, E-A-R, ear, is directly associated with the throat. The throat speaks, so the ear twists.
Yes.
So third chakra would be Earth. The fourth chakra would be Mars, which is interesting because that would kind of be the heart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Mars kind of
War.
deserted,
Yeah.
kind of abandoned, kind of desolate?
Yes. Always starting war.
Symbolic for one's heart. Deserted, stripped
Wow.
of all blood, life force.
Welcome to the world
What
of
the
dating. Dating 101.
Right. So what is Dracula? A being that had all the blood stripped from his heart.
Yeah.
Do you know what an albino heart looks like? Because I've seen an albino heart. An albino, that's basically stripped of color. So stripped of all blood.
Wow.
So I've seen an albino heart. Google it for anyone that
What?
It looks all white, kind of like Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. They strip all the blood out of all the organs. That's the deep science. I'm not gonna get into that.
Oh.
Because then you can place different blood into that organ to kind of bring certain things back to life. This is the Egyptians knew about this.
Yeah.
But this is why a lot of our melanated kids don't have their organs. And it's an epidemic of organs being
Harvesting.
taken.
Yeah, harvesting.
Galore.
Yeah,
Galore.
absolutely.
So the heart would be Mars. Jupiter, yes indeed. Good old Superman.
Yeah.
Good old Zeus.
My planet.
Good old Heru.
Heru.
Jupiter ascending.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're dealing with the solar plexus.
Okay.
Because that's where one's action comes from.
Oh.
How do you subdue the soul? Put more souls around it. You call that food. Because now where your food goes, right in one's stomach. So you kind of suppress one's soul by adding more souls there. And then the more souls they kind of get weighed down. And if you're an unactive, unmotivated, depressed individual, you kind of get pressed into a couch, literally, with your fat ass. And that's kind of what happens when you can't get activated or in action mode because you've been so pressed by all the souls or weight or density of things outside you. You call that food.
Yeah.
So then you have the sixth world. Woo! Indeed. This is an interesting place we're about to dwell in right now. The sixth chakra will be the chakra that is orange. Good old Trump, our orange hero. And the sixth chakra is often referred to as Saturn.
Yeah.
This is why Halloween is associated to Saturn. This is why it is orange. And what do you do for Halloween? You kind of mask one's identity. Oh, boy. So what does one sacral chakra represent? It represents one's identity within itself. And if you have no identity of self, you have no control over self-emotion. And if you have no control over self-emotions, you have no control over self-speech. And if you have no control over self-speech, you ain't really creating anything or bringing anything into creation with one's third eye, a.k.a. thought. And then how could you ever access one's memories if you can't even access one's thoughts? So it kind of masks one's identity. And if you don't mask off, like Future, like Pluto, that's what he calls himself. It's just in how these things go.
Oh.
If you don't really mask off, then you're going to kind of be a clone, kind of manufactured. You didn't create that mask. Neither did you create that clone. So this is kind of what they try to do. They try to bring you to your sacred living. And if you process your sacral chakra, that's where your liver is. They kind of bring you to your broken or damaged child. That's why they kind of molest children and things like that, especially in the sacral area. Where this is where your kidneys reside. And all they're really trying to do is just create blockages. Block stones. And the body literally creates, all bodies are worlds. So you got to process that it's a world within a world. So if we have mountains and stones out here in this world, then you got mountains and stones inside your world. You want to know some of the stones and mountains of your world? All those fibrous cancers, the little, balls that go on one's ovaries. That would be in the sacral chakra. And then you also have something for men called gallbladder stones. That would kind of be like in one sacral chakra. Then you kind of get like stomach cancers, stomach ulcers. Which again, it's just more stones and more balls in one's body. Then you kind of get stones or balls on one's throat. This is cancers. I'm just trying to explain to you. Stones or walls on one's third eye. You call that calcified pineal gland. Walls, blockages. Kind of put these things up into oneself. So one's sacral chakra is essentially where the dead goes first. They don't really get to access what you're called root or the anus. And you kind of know what comes next. You have Saturn, which would be the sixth planet from the sun. So then the seventh planet from the sun, or the seventh chakra below you, would be Uranus. That's literally what the name of the planet is. They give you a sign. You just gotta open up your
out in
eyes.
plain sight.
right there. Hello. And in ancient culture, they say that Uranus and Gaia produce Saturn. So Gaia and Uranus is older than your little angry child you call Saturn.
This is fascinating. This has gone beyond, maybe above and beyond the wonderment of what we are basically engaging with without, on the subconscious level, without even having any true acknowledgement or even being able to partake in these different systems that are basically creating our worlds or creating what we experience. You know, a lot of people are just co-pilots, and something else is piloting them because they're unaware or unable to access points of reference because their minds are blocked, or through GMO foods or chemtrails, or or through trauma-based systems that are meant to cause blockages, cancers, which are funguses, which I love that you said cancer, because that's a type of fungus, and fungus grows in the dark when you're unaware, when it's wet and moist and you can't see it. So that's so interesting that you brought that mindset.
Remember what we said earlier? We said herbs will be governors of death.
Yeah.
Fungi.
Yeah.
That's part of the herb community.
Wow.
That's still part of, all in common, all in the same realm of things.
It's all relative.
Yes, we are in a simulation that is simulating you.
I agree.
The problem is we don't process that is our body, our rules. We're just ruling our body wrong. Therefore, you don't really have control over one's rules because you're allowing others to rule you.
Yeah.
Very similar to the world here now.
Yeah.
The earth is your world. It's the body, your rules. Your body, your rules. Look how we rule this body for earth.
Yeah. If you know that every thought is a thing, if it's a simulated interactive video game that we're coexisting in, then you know that you create the rules to your own game. You created the rules. But if you're unaware of where those rules came from, then somebody else, whenever you play a game and then you don't know, so it goes to default rules because you don't know how to play it. So it has its own default system, where basically a lot of people are on default. They're going by somebody else's perimeters and rules and regulations because they're not really fully aware they're even in that. So heightened awareness is how you heal aspects of, atrophy of the mind. But it's hard because you've got all these different, hosts of,
it's the dead.
Yeah,
it's the dead.
The dead.
The
Exorcism.
dead follow this simulation.
They do.
We didn't follow this shit. We're going against this shit. The dead is glued into this.
It's your old
and
Uncle
now
Henry.
We're wakening up the dead. This is why the dead rising. We are waking them up.
I agree.
Through our actions of confining or defining.
Yes.
That's how we're affecting this physical matrix.
See, do you think, a question, in the movie, and I'm not sure if you ever seen the movie Coco, which is interesting that you said this, because if we're going to the interaction or intervention or whatever they're doing with the human beings, the dead that are actually going by the assignment of the rules and regulations that are already preset in the perimeters of the matrix, the movie Coco talks about, having, the Day of the Dead, which is in Latino culture, where you worship the Day of your Dead. So you always give honor to your great-grandfather or, Luis Castava on Cuba. You always give honor. And if you don't give honor to them anymore, that they lose a placement. They actually lose a place in the dead side. So they actually, they dissipate and they go away forever. What's interesting about what you said, do you think it's a detriment? Because I always, even when I kick off shows or stuff like that, I always honor my mom and dad who are living. Like my mom, I always kick off people that are living. I don't really give props to Ashe, like Offset or Heru or, I don't pour elixirs for the dead. But I always felt funny about that. Like I always felt like there's ancestors that rock with me now on Earth plane. Why am I giving honor to people that I don't really talk to? They're not here anymore. Do you think it's detrimental for us, especially from the occult and the voodoo, hoodoo, jongaje, obia, what else? Santeria, all those sets. Do you think it's detrimental for us to keep worshiping and utilizing dead people to access certain points of reference of intel or wisdom, do you think that could be detrimental to us to keep going to the dead? Because then it'll give them relevancy.
If we're going to keep pulling from the dead.
Say that again?
I said if we choose to keep pulling from the dead, sure, that's what they want. I mean, there's two ways of getting information.
Yeah.
From the life and from the dead.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how people choose to inform themselves. Now, a lot of the rituals that you talk about was a way for people to get information.
Yeah.
We were secluded for a long time in cultures and life and reality. Television and things like that are modern day things. Cell phones are modern day things. All these things are 100 years old. So just grab some 10,000 years and just give you, 3 cycles in essence. But in the last 3 cycles or 10,000 years, we've kind of communed with the dead. They were kind of like our cell phones, our television.
Yeah.
And the dead kind of have transformed now into what you call your cell phones, your television, these black screens.
Oh, yeah.
But prior to them being in that type of system, they kind of dwelled in other dark systems. We call that darkness or shadows. We also didn't have light. We had candles.
That's true.
So we had a lot of darkness around us.
That's true.
And a lot of the progression that got us to this point was through the influence of the dead. Nikola Tesla said he talked to heightened spirits or evolved beings or whatever. A lot of these inventors or pioneers kind of believe in aliens or afterlife or altered beings. So once again, it's kind of showing you that they're pulling from not the life, but from something that goes a little bit beyond our current realm of life. I personally don't perceive anything as like a death or light system. I kind of perceive it all as information.
Yes. Very good. Okay, thank you.
I then now kind of converge those two dualities or that duality into a singularity. Same thing I try to do. I give the example of this. If I was a Christian and you see a cross, I'm going to say that cross represents my Savior, my God, my Christ. If I was an explorer and you showed me a cross, I'm going to say, I don't know what that is. That looks like a compass to me. And this shows how I get to my God, my direction, my purpose, my path. And then a mathematician walks in and says, that's a plus sign. You got like 3 different beings kind of coming up with their own idea of this symbol.
Yes.
But if we all came together and concluded one singularity, it's a positive sign.
It is.
It's a positive symbol.
Literally.
Does that work? Can we no longer got to be divided? Can we kind of agree on that? That one little easy thing.
That is
what
true.
we got to kind of do.
It represents a positive because it is. It is that in itself, and the symbolism in the sigil, It does.
We don't got to break it down into 3 different religions or 3 different people.
But isn't that going into? But isn't that going into 0 point, like you said, the singularity, going in converging timelines? Because I love that you said that. It's kind of like, why would I consider them dead? Me personally, you actually brought a good point, which kind of says, how do we even know they're dead? Because remember, every timeline, every time that has existed is all existing at one point. So past, present, and future are overlapping. So if we take that concept, if we accept it, then the point of the matter is there isn't any truly dead and there isn't any true future. Everything is actually just now. So depending on your frame of reference, you can pull from what one other would consider the dead, but that person is already coexisting in their realm at that time. You're accessing their intel from that time frame. It already may have happened, or maybe it's happening right now, depending on your consciousness. So I love that you said that. It's a singularity. It's a 0 point.
Well, I'm going to talk 2 things about that. One, in order to access a timeline, you have to have a body that's associated with that timeline.
True.
Bodies come, bodies go.
Yes.
So the timelines still go. but the physical body that you needed to operate that timeline might not be acceptable right now. But the timeline's still going on. Timeline is actually still continuing.
Yeah.
So you have to then access a body that is similar,
Yes.
that is kind of simulating the same patterns that you have.
Yeah.
That's what you call integration.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into integration.
I love that. Oh, this
So
is
all you're doing with a plus sign is really understanding something that science calls the Big Bang. Meaning that, guess what, Queen? That plus sign was actually a condensed dot that exploded. And the explosion of that singularity or dot is what you call a cross, or a positive sign.
interesting. Causing lines outward from the point of reference.
But it's not supposed to be a cross, because that is something that is stationary, that is planted inside of the ground. It's supposed to be an X, signifying a cross in motion.
Ooh.
We are now entering the age of crossing. The planet of the crossing is upon us. X-Men is upon us.
Woo.
X marks the motherfucking spot.
Oh,
Because we're no longer going to be crucified and sacrificed in a station.
I'm going to be flying above the ether tonight, not in the ether, but above the ether. I'll be coasting above the ether. The incels are on fire. I never even thought of that. And just remember, I do take in consideration point of reference, but then if you turn something to the side or you invert it or just change the way that it's seen, or somebody sees it from a different direction or the different peripheral, it would be an X. It's a cross on the side, but that's just a frame of reference. Woo! Wow. That you just blew the lids off of 90% of the people watching this tonight and whoever watches this tomorrow. Because you just changed our point of reference. That's why it's important for us to share. You sharing this changes our perspective, because in order to field in new intel and vet it out and gain some wisdom, we have to get different perspectives. Because sometimes we may be so linear in the way that we think, or just based on how our genomes, because some people genetically are unable to permeate outward based on their own jail that their lineage has put them in, or ghosts, whatever, you know?
Prison.
Yeah.
Prison.
Their own prison. Yeah.
Remember, your body is a body of light.
Yeah.
So then you should know that it's a prison. That your body is a body of light called a prison.
Absolutely. And
yeah, I mean, I didn't want to do this. This is like, I mean, first off, you're on YouTube, so I haven't even really been here that long on YouTube. But like, I would listen to other people, and Facebook groups. I mean, we're in a whole metaphysical realm right now. So I would just listen and just kind of be like, that's so not right. Just kept telling myself that for so many different things. And I was just like, I don't get that. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. Like, please explain 11:11 again. I still lost. I don't watch probably about 1,000 videos. People trying to explain what 11:11. And I still don't know what the fuck it means. Now, I know what it means. So I'm trying to say, like, that should not happen. We should not keep dividing things.
Well,
and we are in such a state of division.
Divide and conquer is part of the, what did you say, the root of everything. The root of the problem is the divide and conquer, and it's purposefully meant to just misinform us and also confuse people, because you can get one intellist that says one thing and you'll get another one. But what I love is an intellist that takes all perspectives, it fields it together, and allows all plausibility. It's everything. What if I told you that every religion in itself, every religion has credence and credibility? But you take all the books separately, and of course they sound like, maybe a little bit unbalanced, because it's not, the balance comes from the verging and the singularity, which I love that you used. It does. And it's necessary for us to, it's just like the collapsing of timelines, the convergence. You said the integration. I say convergence, you say integration. It's one and the same, depending on the point of reference, right? So I love that you're able to, and this is where I'm fascinated. Listen, Q, I'm not saying nobody fascinates me, but your mind, and I want to give you all the credit. I don't care who you listen to, this is yours. Because I've listened to the clowns online. I don't want to call them all clowns, but a lot of them are. They're provocateur agents that are sent here to cause misinformation and divide the people. They are sent here for that. You can tell by their verbiage, you can tell by their frequency, what they're omitting and what they do to the people who are actually engaged in interaction with them. If you're not having a cohesion between their people and it's always fuss and fight and looking for the next person to crucify or plus.
To break down. The barriers of death.
Yes.
Classes, a lot of the mental state is ruled by the spiritual body, meaning that your mind is influenced by, meaning that these motherfuckers who are out here online talking about a whole bunch of shit, good, I'm happy for them. But understand they're pulling from the dead.
Yes.
That's where they do dead rituals to get this information.
They
Jail is a dead ritual. They're pulling off your time.
They're parasites.
You have no time. You have no time for yourself. That's death.
Yeah.
So then you harbor a spirit of death.
Yeah.
And it gives you information. It helps you with books. It tells you what to read. It helps you guide you on these lines, but you're just a fucking puppet.
Yeah.
You don't realize the sovereignty over yourself. You are the physical being that's grabbing the book, obtaining the information.
They require you. Yes, the spirit requires you, not you it. Yes, I agree with you. 1,000%.
So then that can answer your question, should you be praising these things or not? Maybe they should be praising you.
I think they do. Let's keep it 1,000. Oh my God. Okay, so we could go back and forth all night. I love it. I love that the intel, and I want to have people ask you questions because I don't want them to not be able to ask questions either. Because a lot of times they'll say, Flurburn, I want to ask a question, and sometimes the questions are something that they've really wanted to ask you because there were some people who really knew you, and they were like, yeah, we were like ready for him tonight. So they were waiting for you. So I don't know if you're up for that. Are you okay and open for questions?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So I'm going to open up the queue. Now listen, family, because you know the time and you know the time frame that we have, and I don't want to have one person stay on because you guys say I'm chatty. I know I'm an islander, and I let you chat it up, but still, please ask your question, try to stay on for 5 minutes so Q can kind of address it and answer the question. You know the number, 515-605-9881. My admins are on here. They'll give you the other number, which is our another timeline. We jump timelines. So we have another number from another timeline, which is 646-787-8311. And we have 37 minutes left in the live queue, but we have another hour, and that's if Q wants to stay on for the other bonus hour afterwards. I don't want to keep you up all night, but we're late goers tonight. So whatever you let me know what you're good for, okay?
I'm gonna have to bang out these questions. So since being on the show with Offset and being on the show with Shira, both very interesting people on YouTube. I mean, I'm new, so I just started talking. Everyone kind of reached out to me, including you. I appreciate it. So much love.
Absolutely.
So much love. I'm just saying, it put me into a position where a lot of people book regression.
Yeah.
So I average probably about 3 a day.
Good.
Sometimes I gotta drive to people, things like that. So it's been a long day.
Okay, I'm not going to
started like 8 in the morning.
Oh gosh, no. I'm a leisurely person, so I understand. So let me know what's good for you, and just tell me when you're ready to bounce. It's good. It's all good with us, okay? So
Appreciate it.
All right. We'll go into our questions now. That's why I'm going to do Q&A early, so it gives you a chance to be able to get some rest too. All right. So again, family, the number is 515-605. Joy already put the number in here again. Perfect. So I'm going to take our first caller. She's been waiting a long time. I think this is D-Town in the house because I look at that 313. I think I know who that is. So 313-3950. You're in the house. Peace, C-Star. You're on the line with Q and Flurburn. Peace. 313-3950. You're on the line with Q and Flurburn. I hope she didn't go to wash the dishes because she's going to be upset. Washing the dishes, she got on mute like, oh, no, they didn't call my number. Okay, so one more time, 313-3950. You've been on the longest. You stayed it out. So one more time, going one. Hello? Oh, there you go, C-Star. What's up? What's good?
Hello?
Hey, C-Star, yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi. What you doing?
It's Jennifer.
I know. Hi, Jennifer.
Oh, I was back on the phone. I didn't even know you called me.
Jennifer, you called it. Oh, wait, you don't even have, oh, Jennifer, you know what? You didn't have a question mark up. That's why. That's why you're shocked. Sorry about that, Jennifer. That was my fault. Do you have anything you want to ask Q while you're here?
It's okay. No, I'm just enjoying the song.
Beautiful. All right, Jennifer. Thank you. Sorry about that, Sue Star. I'll be more mindful.
It's okay.
All right, peace.
It's
Okay.
Peace.
You can tell I haven't been on my show for the last 3 weeks. Anyone who has a question, please put a question mark next to, push the number 1 to let me know you have a question. That's what I did. I didn't realize I didn't have question marks up. Push the number 1 if you have a question that you want to ask for Q on this call, so I know that you want me to pick up your call. Okay? It's going to take a minute. All right, Q, we'll still discuss until I see them pushing up the 1. Push the number 1 again. That's how I know you want me to pick up the calls. I think there's just callers tonight. Okay. Talk about, okay, so they want you to talk about, somebody had a question on the chat. They want you to talk more about the number 1111 and why are people seeing it so much and why is it becoming more relative? I think they're just witnessing it. I don't know that they're seeing it. But go ahead.
Because you have what you call the original mind, or like an original thought, which means kind of like yours, and then you have what you call the collective thought. Let's ask the question, how many people really been seeing 1111, or is there kind of like an 1111 agenda? Being placed upon society. No, this isn't kind of like a tarot card. If I was to kind of like have you come to me, I'm Miss Cleo, and you come and you sit down, and I'm like, all right, look, you know, with these cards, I'm going to tell you what's to come.
Yeah.
I'm literally telling. So now, is it the cards that's manifesting this future or your mental state? Because I'm kind of telling your mind what's to come.
Yeah.
So is your mind kind of projecting these things out? It is. Or is the cards, in essence, kind of projecting or reflecting one's mind? So, this is what's going on. 11, which represents duality, kind of represents like ping pong, kind of represents 2 sides of a wall, kind of need 4 to kind of create a box. So 1111 would kind of be an association or connection to a square.
Ooh, the cube. Oh, you just heard the 1111 agenda. You just heard the 1111 agenda. You shouldn't have done it, Q, because now everybody's been like, it's a setup. It's an agenda, just like the veganism is an agenda, just like, you know, all kinds of sexual depravities is an agenda. You just put it in the wrong spectrum, Q. What did you do?
How do you trap light?
In a
put
box.
it in a box.
Yeah.
So Lucifer is fallen light. How do you trap light? You put it in a box.
Yeah.
But I can't really give you out too much of it because this is a very deep agenda, and I really don't want certain things to affect y'all.
No.
This kind of just process that it represents duality, and you must converge or fall one's perception of past and future, one's perception of masculine and feminine, because the child kind of represents both those things.
That's right.
And we need to kind of converge or enter that realm of existence. In order to enter the gates of heaven, one must have a childlike mind. Now, I'm not quoting it directly from the Bible, but it's very similar to them words. So it's just a way of, and everything's a double-edged sword. So process, if I'm saying it represents a square or a cube, well, then that's kind of showing you that you're behind the wall. And the only way that you can break a wall down is to kind of be aware that there's a wall put up in the first place,
That's
Erwin.
right. That's right.
So understand everything is to kind of help us. If you allow yourself to be helped, but it's simulating you. I look at a wall, it's like something I got to accomplish. Other people look at a wall and say, oh, okay, I guess I'm stuck. So the simulation is simulating you, as I said before.
Yes. So when you see the 1111, just another concept, if you see the 1111, what would be your way to remove because it's trying to box you in, probably your perception, trying to hold you into whatever consciousness you're at that point. There's a reason why you're perceiving it at that point in reference of time. So what do you say to do in order to kind of defrag that or rebuke it or to disallow it to have that effect? Is it just that knowing that it doesn't have the effect to just that does it?
Well, that's what it is. You know, you have to know you're good at all times.
Right.
There's nothing that isn't good.
I
But besides that, it's very similar to like anxiety. You know, I explain anxiety is fear of one's future,
Yeah.
while depression is fear of one's past. So in order for you to be able to kind of tap in, address one's anxiety, I say two things to help people with anxiety. And that's like fear of the future. So 1111 is also associated with the future or fear of the future.
Yeah.
In order for you to be able to process or to stay composed during a state of anxiety, two things I suggest. One, breathe. Breathing is an involuntary system until you make it voluntary. I'm breathing right now, but I'm not focusing on it, I'm talking. So it's kind of like involuntary. But imagine if you were to pay attention to one's breath, breathe, relax, focus on your emotions when you see the number 11.
Yeah.
Focus on you. When you see 11, stop focusing on the world. When you see 1111, start focusing on you. When you see 11, start focusing on you.
Good.
It is a reflection. It is a reflecting number. It represents reflection.
Ooh, very nice.
Lucifer was trying to reflect God. 11, Lucifer number. So reflect on something when you see it.
Very nice. Another question regarding the perceivement of those who are engaged in same loving lifestyle. Just I want to say same loving lifestyle. So girl to girl, guy to guy. Is that in itself a form of going against the mirroring effect, or is it something more has to do with defragging the connection of the actual opposites to bring them together? What's your perceivement on that? What's your take on that?
So you kind of asking like homosexuality, like same-sex relationships, like. I just want to make sure I kind of understand the question.
Yes.
You're kind of asking, like, is it helpful or hurtful? I think maybe that's what you're trying to ask.
Well, is it fielding it? Well, I'm more talking about as far as energy, because remember, opposites usually attract. You get positive and negative, it pulls together. When you get two that are the same, it usually repels. But when people are forcing that union together based on whether it's toxicology that's causing it via the food, causing a change in hormonal disposition, whether it's socialized and created by, again, MK Ultra or introducing something perpetually to make it more acceptable, whatever it is, it's still energy. So do you think that there's something with the propelling of people that are normally should be in opposition of each other in a natural polarity, or do you think there's something that they're trying to press with the two coming together that are the same? I don't know if you have an opinion about that.
Yeah, I mean, in order to contain or govern or manipulate more energy, it's easy to put likable energies together.
Okay.
Because then you say opposites attract and same things kind of repel. So it kind of pushes away from something together. So you put more things on the same frequency or wave, and they all can kind of repel or push away from something. That could be themselves. That could be source. That could be their sexuality. I mean, the list goes on. Okay. You're pushing away from something. You're repelling. So they're able to control our culture by putting likes with likes. More likes you get, kind of, become more relevant.
That's true. That's true. That is true. Okay, another question. Okay, this is from Jay Flower. Are deities living beings? Okay, are deities living beings or aspects of our mind? Are deities living beings or aspects of our mind?
You say you're a spirit having a human experience, so then I guess it would start off as spiritual, and then it would manifest into the physical. You go through something you call spiritual or the spiritual realm every time you go to sleep. That's called astral. And then that astral realm is kind of manipulating and manufacturing your physical realm. So spirit comes first, and then spirit is projected out physical. So if the spirit can conceive it, the body can produce it.
That's right.
So they started as spirits, and then probably have manufactured as many different versions. I mean, you got the weakest, they sound alike. They're not alike though, but it's helping you understand.
Yeah.
It works like that.
Yeah. So if you perceive it, you can conceive it. Okay, basically that. Okay.
So it's a collective. You collectively have been told the story of these deities. So these deities then are manufactured or produced into the collective.
Absolutely. Okay, let's pick the last question from Roz K, coming in from the UK. What's your take on Hollywood? Or I call it Hollyweird, or Hollywood. What's your take on it?
Once again, there's two trees that we kind of associate with, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge is associated with paperwork, with the dead.
Dead tree.
They call it the holy tree,
Yes,
or the holy wood.
Yes, dead trees.
So and this is why they do the little Bohemian Grove ritual in the woods with an owl. But it's so you have two things that are kind of being ruled by two deities. I don't really need to give you the names of them unless you really want the names of them, and that's still probably debatable. But one energy kind of you refer to as like Lilith, and she kind of governs and owns Hollywood. So Hollywood is her background, it's her domain. She has manufactured herself. That's kind of like Isle of Lucy, Marilyn Monroe, Britney Spears, things like that. So she has kind of like you got to understand, spirits aren't contained in a body, so they can house or become various bodies.
Yeah.
So she has been able to be various things to kind of manipulate and rule over this thing you call Hollywood. Okay. But in the most simplistic and deeper agenda, the Queen of England is directly associated with Hollywood. I don't have a lot of time to break down how or why that is.
Yeah.
But then it also associates to the Pleiadians. And the Pleiadians is a code word for playing Diana. That's why the word Pleiadian looks literally like playing Diana.
Thank you for
and
that.
When you play a Diana or play a role, kind of acting out a situation. And it is said that in the Pleiades, they were genocide, that they offered themselves, kind of committed suicide to a deity, to place themselves inside a machine, inside a film, inside of what you'll call a photo. And these beings are kind of resurrected in what you'll call Hollywood. So the things you see in Hollywood are like the Pleiadian realms or worlds. Wow. And it's kind of playing the Orion Wars, per se, right there. Infinity War. Your Infinity War.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that. And our Palladians contactees would have, they'll have an interesting take on your actual intel on, or your share on this. So, Q, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know you're tired. So I want you to kind of kick off and just, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You were magnificent. I'm highly impressed. I'm grateful you decided to join our platform. I know we're a different kind of, we talk about ETs and whatnot, but you could kick it with a lot of different conversations, I see. So I'm grateful that you decided to join us this evening. I would like you to share with everyone your social media, also where they can contact you in order to have a regression session with you. That'd be great.
Okay, beautiful. So, for those who haven't subscribed, I really appreciate it if you were to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Maybe she can put the information when this is finished, but I'm going to still spell it out. It'll be my first name, Quentin, Quentin. The middle name would be Q, C as in cat, UE. The last name would be Reeves, REA, V as in Victor, ES. My email is the exact same thing, Quentin Q. Reeves. You can email me to get more details on a regression session. I do have a website that is dedicated to it, but it's kind of just set up at one price point. I try to work with people based on time frames. So if you don't really want to have a set time frame that is suggested on that website, you can email me and we can work something out. My Instagram is q.reeves, but it's a little kind of personal because the metaphysical community try to put you in a box. I'm not one to be put in a box.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's kind of, all kind of things I do on that one. But then I have a personal business Instagram. I then make it metaphysical. So I'm just giving that heads up that some people might not want to see me go take a drink on a Friday night. But that would be what's happening on my personal Instagram.
Yeah.
But on my business Instagram, if you want to follow that, it would be at
your representative. They want to see your representative. They don't want to see the real. But that's duality. You're going to have both.
That's why I offer both.
Yeah.
That's why I offer both. So you can follow me on Instagram at MISTER, so Mr. The number 5, the letter D. So Mr. 5D would be my Instagram. It should come up as Mr. Nobody. So follow me on Facebook too. I have a lot of videos up there. That's kind of my platform. It's easy for me. I don't even run my YouTube. Someone runs it for me.
Oh, that's good. Well, listen, I appreciate that because it does help to have to have a little assistance to run the stuff. No,
I wasn't gonna do it. I'm not here for like the fame or the clout. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Well, I could tell because I could
I
tell.
have many other things I could do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This is to try to help, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But when I have to stop from, my everyday life or the things that I step forward or the standard of life that I have to kind of do these things, I have to make sure it balances. I will never allow myself to be less in a spiritual venture. It's supposed to be about more, not less.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Q. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure, our sea stars and sun stars are going to be following you, and I look forward to hearing from you again in the future. Okay? So you get some rest.
Set up another time to speak.
Absolutely.
There's so much stuff. Just so you know, some things to come. We could talk about the primordial realm, a.k.a. the realm of metal, a.k.a. the realm of meta, a.k.a. the realm of what you'll call Metatron, which would be Enoch. But we won't get into that.
You can't do that. That's like an end. You know when you do like the end of a show and it's like a pull in the next one. Well, on the second, you're leaving like a little spice so people have a taste for it. It's like, come on, doll, put on Flirt Room, get you back on. All right. So you have a masterful evening, blissful evening, and I look forward to seeing more of what you do in the future. All right.
Thank you, love. Appreciate it.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
There you go. That was absolutely wonderful. We had, that was Q. Q Reeves came on tonight, graced our presence. That was a kickoff show, right? That was like, I wasn't even expecting like fire in the yard. Like there was fire. The ETs and the AI nearly blew up the whole show on the Getty Up. I was like, listen, calm down, let them get in before you start scaring off my guests, please. I thought it was a phenomenal show, and I'm really grateful that Q joined us tonight. So again, family, this is perfect because, I'm going to end it a little early. This is rare that I end Aquarius Rising 98 early. Unless you guys have some questions. If you have some questions, let me know because you can ask them now before I end the show a little early. It's before the early mark. So if you have a question, press the number 1. We can get it in now. But next week I also have a profound show. So next week we're getting into some craziness when it comes to the children and the vaccinations, and we're going into that realm. We got one of our sea stars, and she's got intel for days. So we already set up for the show this week. So like I did last month, I did the whole session of the super sea star sessions where I brought in the masterful sea stars coming in. We got another one coming in next week. Q was like a little bit of a cherry on top of our cake. Bring a little male energy in, so that was really nice. But next week is going to be really profound. So I don't see anyone who has questions tonight. This is rare. I think you guys are just not used to me being on. Or they might have just blocked a lot of people off of the calls, which sometimes they do because that puts you off. So anyway, I'm going to end the show a little early tonight, everyone. So, you know, Florida is used to getting, you could tell I'm a little sleepy. It's, you know, I finished my fast, and it's taken me a while to eat, so I don't really eat that well. So I'll do well to get a little rest tonight and then look at a couple YouTube videos that you guys are sending me. So, and the Pelagians, he brought in the whole Pelagians too, which is another, that in itself, you Pelagians, sun stars, and sea stars, I know you're going to have a lot of things talking about it. That connection to Lilith and also Hollywood, and a charade, almost like masks being shown, and it's connected to the Pelagians. That threw me for a loop, you know, because I know how a lot of you love the Pelagians. And I already retracted my video on the Pelagians because y'all came for me when I was talking about the Pelagians. But, you know, I could say I told you so. Anyway, let me starting ish. Anyway, so have a wonderful night. Thank you again. Thank you, Blog Talk on Aquarius Rising. You guys rock. My Blog Talk family, you always represent. You always support me. Thank you for Patreon again for joining me. It was a phenomenal show. And actually, I don't feel like it was a short show. It felt like it was a longer show than some of our 3-hour shows because all the information was like fire in the yard. And, of course, thank you, Cypher. My beautiful Cypher who's in the house, always representing, always coming through. Big up to my Cypher crew who's on the airwaves right now. So, Flibber's going to head on to bed. Thank you again for joining on Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. Next week's show, same time, same place. And we will reconvene. All right? I love you, family.